Hi, I am Tony Russo, and in this episode of Brief Introduction, we are going to speak with Tom Cole. He is the Vice President of Sales of Federal Eagle, and they will be among the presenters at the November 12th Advances in Funeral Innovations Conference in Detroit. It's a one-day conference, and there's going to be a ton of great stuff there. There's a link in the show notes that can show you everything that will be going on. But in this case, I just want to talk to Tom a little bit because he is newish to the company, and I have done a limited number of interviews with coach people before. And if you're not familiar with coaches at all, this is going to be a great episode because they really have literal innovations that have to do with limousines and hearses. And we're going to talk to them. Actually, we'll get into it right now. Let's get into it with Tom, and I'll catch you back on the other side with more details about how to register, especially if you would like to get a discount, because I have a discount code and we'll deliver that on the other side of this interview. But now, here's Tom. So, as I understand it from our pre-interview chat, you're back in the automobile business. So, why now? Why back in the automobile business? And what's kind of your automobile background?
Well, thank you, Tony. Very exciting to be back in automotive. Federal Eagle is a fantastic company. I am from Cincinnati, and our headquarters is based in Cincinnati. So we're actually the number one manufacturer of funeral coaches and limousines, and we're actually in all 50 states, Canada, and parts of Europe. We work through a series of the finest dealers and funeral service providers, and work with Cadillac and offer reliable and dignified movement of families and the deceased all through the process, whether it be funeral homes, crematories, religious memorial services, and even, to the final resting places.
One of the things that I found interesting about the hearse business that I did not know when I first started was that there are really more innovations in that than you would think. Like these bodies get renewed and the chassis get renewed. So what are some of the innovations in the coach business?
Well, we have a very exciting innovation that's actually patented, and it's coming out October 27th. We're launching this product at the NFDA show.
Oh, wow.
And so we're excited about that. And this also ties in with the upcoming Kates-Boylston sessions in Detroit and Fort Worth. It's actually called a dual purpose coach option, including what's now the ultimate urn carrier. So this is a patented advancement in funeral innovation that we're going to be launching at the show. And it really helps the funeral service provider expand revenue opportunities by utilizing really the most innovative dual purpose coach option available in the marketplace.
So tell me a little bit about what a dual coach option is, because I honestly know so very little about what you guys do.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Well, let me give you a little bit of background.
Please.
You may be familiar with the Foresight company that does a study every year. For the past 6 years, they've done a funeral and cemetery consumer behavior study. And I would really encourage every funeral service provider to go to their website and download it because it's very interesting. And the study looks at consumer attitudes and opinions and behaviors about funeral and cemetery, about the profession. The big takeaway from this year's study is that customers aren't getting the education that they need and that the profession really thinks it's providing. Most consumers have little, if any, experience with funeral and cemetery arrangements, and they really need help understanding the options that are available to them. This is really a big missed opportunity, and professionals think that they're providing education to most consumers, but most consumers don't feel that they're really getting it. And many of the largest gaps for this education are in the study around cremation. And I'll just give you a couple of facts that came from the study. Only 67% of consumers are aware that cremation can be combined with a funeral memorial service, if you can believe that. Less than 50% of consumers are aware that cremation actually can be memorialized and what their options are with cremation. So 1 in 4 consumers don't know what to do with the cremated remains, and many expressed interest in keeping them without understanding the emotional logistical consequences of doing that.
Right. That's something that we write about all the time, that people are like, well, I'll keep it. And then, it ends up at like a Goodwill or something in 30 years.
Yeah, so they really aren't receiving education regarding the cremated remain options only about 32% of the time. So, Tony, these disconnects are costing funeral service professionals, not just in terms of lost revenue, but also in missed opportunities to create meaningful healing experiences for the families. And so the title of our innovation seminar coming up in Detroit is benefiting from funeral car innovation to create meaningful healing experiences for families and grow funeral home revenue. So it's really essential that funeral directors explain that even if cremation is a more affordable option, that it can be combined with a personalized service. And that really, comes down to education and clear communication across every touch point, whether it be the education they're doing when they come in or on their website or any form of touch point with that consumer.
And now one of the things that you're kind of ringing my bell with, because you said dual purpose. So you're saying that one of the innovations that you have is a coach that displays the urn on its way to, let's say, the columbarium or niche or whatever?
Exactly. So if we go out into the garage and talk about the hearse, which is essential for every funeral home in providing that dignified movement of the deceased person, what we'll be demonstrating during the upcoming sessions in Detroit and Fort Worth is really a dual purpose coach, including the ultimate urn carrier. And this is as I mentioned, a patented advancement in funeral innovation that we're launching to the marketplace. And the sole purpose is really to help funeral service professionals grow revenue by capturing cremation ceremonies. The way it works is, we actually are promoting a standardized cremation service with the same customary techniques that are typically performed during casket burials. So today, most funeral homes are only utilizing the hearse for casket burials, which are only 32% of dispositions. So if they can utilize this ultimate urn carrier and the dual purpose option, for example, to take cremated remains to the cemetery to be buried or interned, that's another 24% of dispositions. If they can, take the cremated remains to the family in the hearse, let's say that the family's having a celebration of life or a personalized service, that's another 16% of dispositions. Or even if they could take them all the way to the place for scattering, the sentimental place for scattering, or the final resting place beyond the cemetery, that's another 13% of disposition. So what we're promoting is using this dual purpose coach option to increase their opportunity to make revenue by utilizing the hearse.
So I actually just kind of dialed it up because it's a question that I didn't even know to ask, but looking at the Federal Legal Coach website, this also, you have a limousine version of this, which is just captures the imagination to me.
We do. We have a limousine, a six-door limousine that typically the family rides in behind the hearse. And that six-door limousine also has an optional urn pedestal in the limousine. That's another way to transport the remains as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So literally the first time I'm hearing that such a thing exists, but it feels like that's a really kind of personal way to do it as well. I'm so on the one that goes in the hearse has like a bear. Is that how I would pronounce? Is that the word that you use to carry the urn? What is the apparatus that's on?
Yeah, we call that the ultimate urn carrier.
Oh, that's what that's called. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. And so just to kind of describe it's there's the casket compartment, and it can automatically be transformed into a more intimate kind of partitioned interior area during cremation services. What's unique about this is it's fully automated. So the urn carrier is in a little garage up in the front of the hearse, and it travels under its own power from that forward onboard garage to the rear of the interior. And then the ultimate urn carrier comes standard with a clampless attachment system. So the urn is paired, the ultimate urn carrier. And after that urn is paired, a beautifully appointed trifold panel kind of moves down from overhead to section off the aft cabin and highlight the deceased. It's really designed for dual purpose so that funeral service professional can set up the car to do either type of ceremony, whether it be a casket service or whether it be a cremation service.
And I think what's really neat about this is because you have that partition that comes down. So in my mind, this is what, 2 or 3 feet deep, but the urn doesn't look like lonely in there, right? It doesn't look like this one tiny thing in this huge car. It has a space for it. So when you open the back, it looks like it belongs there.
Absolutely, Tony. Our research was that the casket compartment was just too large for just an urn. So we actually section it off and make it much nicer and more dignified for that ultimate urn carrier and the pairing of the urn.
That's absolutely fantastic. And so when you go to Detroit, I had meant to ask you earlier, when you go to the Detroit, do you have any, are you going to get any Cadillac visiting done? Do you have
Yes, we'll see Cadillac while we're in Detroit. We are also bringing a hearse with the ultimate urn carrier and the dual purpose coach option to demonstrate and show how it works. But this process really starts way back in the selection center when that urn is being selected and kind of educating the family around their options when cremation occurs. And so it starts in the selection center and the urn is selected and then it's paired with the ultimate urn carrier at that point. And then personalization can occur. For example, we can engrave the name of the deceased on the ultimate urn carrier. We can put a miniature spray of flowers around that to surround the urn, and we encourage a favorite picture of the deceased or crucifix or menorah or military flag. And then that ultimate urn carrier travels to the visitation in the funeral home, and then also to the service where pallbearers carry it into the service. It can also be mounted on a church truck, just like a casket.
Oh.
And then it travels to the final resting place on that ultimate urn carrier. So it's a very similar process to what funeral homes are used to with casket burials. And this provides an opportunity not just for additional revenue, but also to kind of create meaningful healing experiences for the families that are going through that grieving process.
Right, because one of the things that we've written about, I've written about this before, and we've talked about it on this show before, is once you open up the possibilities for a family, a lot of times they'll fill it in themselves. So if you're like, okay, well, this is the ultimate urn carrier, and the urn goes on it, and that's it, then you don't go any farther. But you can say if you want to have it decorated, if you want to have it personalized, and all of a sudden people are starting to imagine more than just a cremation, but still it's a cremation. And it's again, I can't recommend to people to check the show notes out and go and look at some of these photos, because it really does captures my imagination as a consumer more even than as a journalist. I'm like, oh, well, if I use this, then I would do this, that, and the other thing. When you see something new, your mind has to kind of populate around it stuff you already know. And I think that's what makes this such an interesting opportunity.
Well, thank you. We're excited to share it with the industry and talk about creating a similar process to the casket burial process. And if we can move funeral professionals to using their hearse more than just for casket burials, and not just to the cemetery, but getting creative to take cremated remains to the family or to that sentimental place for scattering. Those are additional revenue opportunities, even a celebration of life, but having a dignified way to transport the remains and doing it in a way that's beautifully done and appropriate to really show respect for that person.
Excellent. And that is pretty much all I have for you, unless you have something else from me. Is there something I should have asked and didn't, or something you thought you'd get the opportunity to say, but I didn't provide it?
No, Tony, it's been great to spend time with you, and really from our family to yours, everybody at Federal Eagle is excited to be part of the events in both Detroit and in Fort Worth, and we're looking forward to sharing this with the industry.
Tom Cole and his colleague Nathan Hurst will be presenting at Advances in Funeral Innovations, a one-day conference in Detroit on November 12th. If you are interested in joining us, you can visit events.Kates-Boylston.com to get all of the information, or you can click on the link in the show notes if you would like $50 off of your registration. All you have to do is type in FSI50 at checkout. That is F like funeral, S like service, I like insider, and the number 50 to get $50 at checkout. Brief Introduction is a Kates-Boylston production. It was written and edited by me, Tony Russo. Please subscribe wherever you're listening now. You can go to the show notes and you can click the follow button and you can find all the information that you need to subscribe on whatever podcatcher you use. But that is it for now, and I'll catch you Friday with In Case You Missed It. Bye-bye.